Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. Now, I have to tell you that as I was getting ready for this reading, the growth card came out at the bottom of the deck of the Soul's Journey deck, which is a very emotion-based deck of cards. And this tells me that I'm hearing growing pains. I feel as though from this card, there is immense growth taking place within our collective here that you are most likely feeling at the individual level. However, some of this growth may come along with feelings of discomfort, particularly emotional discomforts. And what I'm picking up on right away is that in some cases, the physical human self here may be having difficulty keeping up with the place that the soul has expanded to. I'm hearing a message from this person's guides, whoever I'm speaking to here. Don't give up. Don't stop growing or get discouraged. In fact, stopping your own growth would actually be inevitable. It's unavoidable because the growth is happening for you energetically. But don't be so hard on yourself when your physical human self, your mind, your emotions have difficulty keeping up with the growth that you are achieving. And at certain moments, because of that, you might feel emotional discomfort in the form of, these could be moments of feeling as though emotionally you are breaking down, you are spiraling out. There may be times you experience negative emotion without knowing why. And so because this is where the reading is taking us right in the beginning, I want to go ahead and channel more into this energy. And right away, the cornucopia card came out. This is such a beautiful card to come out as we are talking about growing pains, specifically growth pains spiritually, growing so intensely, so quickly at the spiritual energetic level, but then at times experiencing these very human emotions that we label as negative, when really, again, these emotions we are labeling as negative are really just the way in which our conscious ego, physical human mind is labeling the experience of playing catch up, spiritually catching up to where we've already expanded to at a soul level. But with this card coming out here, it speaks to wishes being fulfilled, dreams coming true. Can I get another message of encouragement for whoever is connecting in with this portion of the reading, whoever is experiencing some of these emotions they may be labeling as negative? You're not alone. Isolation, physical connection, community. Whale and Orca elders, share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. It's really interesting, this card, Share Your Song, came out because all of these cards I've been pulling right here, Cornucopia and these two Starseed Oracle cards, have all been sitting very heavily on the throat chakra center, which of course is the seat of our voice, both our inner voice and then the voice that we express outward. And I'm feeling a message from someone's guides here saying, continue to have the courage to share yourself with the world, not the self that they created you to be or that they wanted you to be, but the self that you truly are and desire to be. That true core soul frequency within you is being embodied, being infused into whatever you are doing, whatever actions in the world you are involved with, whoever you are involved with, everything you are doing on this planet in terms of physical action or physical creation is infused with your core soul frequency, which is your power and is also your gift to share with the world. It is uplifting, collective consciousness, while at the same time with cornucopia uprights, manifesting your dreams and goals, allowing you to stay in closer alignment with that higher timeline that already carries the trajectory for the manifestation of those goals and dreams. With You're Not Alone, I'm sensing right away with this card, some of these negative emotions that could have been coming up for you may have been directly related to loneliness. I want to see if I can get more information on this. Why is someone here feeling a bit lonely? Appreciation, uprights. So the person I'm connecting in with here, I got the letters KELS. These could be letter initials for someone. The person I'm connecting in with here is spending a lot of time with themselves, appreciating themselves, focusing on their own self-love, building their own sense of inner independence. Yeah, getting into alignment with the temple path upright, with their highest soul's path through being radically vulnerable, open, authentic in their life or in their art. There's something about artistic expression. So someone that I'm speaking to here, you might be getting really raw and vulnerable with sharing who you are through I'm hearing sharing your story for someone, through your music, through your art, through your writing, through speaking, whatever it is. The number 1212 might be connecting with someone here as well. But the thing is, this person is feeling lonely. Whoever I'm picking up on here, you're feeling lonely because in order to climb your way, really to vibrate your way to this higher timeline for yourself, the temple path, your true soul's path here on earth, to stay in your power, to stay in your own self-love, you may feel as though you have to break away a bit from physical other people in your life who in the past have perhaps unconsciously pulled you away from that sense of independence or that sense of inner power or confidence, or caused you to feel tempted to disconnect from your highest soul's path in order to connect with them. I'm getting a lot of divine feminine energy from this. So I feel that for the divine feminines connecting with this message, you are learning commitment through isolation, commitment to self through isolation, I should say. So at times when you're feeling lonely because perhaps there are people that you have intentionally distanced from because these people either couldn't appreciate you for who you truly are, they may have tried to pull you away from that knowing of yourself, or somehow tempted you to disconnect from that highest path, or possibly you may just not be feeling connection, feeling resonance with some of these people anymore because they are those who connect with you from a lower vibrational timeline, a different version of yourself that, again, you are outgrowing. There come those growing pains again. You are outgrowing those old versions of yourself. And there may be others who actually are still stuck in those old versions of you, stuck on those old versions of you. It's like they would prefer you to play smaller, or they would prefer you to be someone who is not putting themselves out there as much as you are, who might be of lower confidence, who might be making different choices. But I feel what's really going on from these others is fear. You rising in your power, for whoever I'm connecting with here, might be illuminating fear in people around you because you stepping into your true power and worthiness is pushing them, forcing them, energetically speaking, to analyze themselves, or rather to see themselves, because some of them may not be willing to analyze that true self, but your light is quite literally illuminating their darkness, meaning their unconsciousness, because all darkness really is unconsciousness. Our so-called shadow aspects are our unconscious aspects of self. But I do feel that because of this dynamic with Angel of Balance reversed, You might find yourself in flux a lot. You might find yourself, I speak a lot about timelines on this channel, especially recently, and there's a reason for this. It's because so many of us, especially those of us tuned into this collective here on YouTube, are committed to ourselves, are really beginning to rise through that self-commitment to our highest vibrational timeline. And what I mean by timelines is whenever we raise our vibration, we actually, in a sense, alter our own past and future through that raising and stabilizing of a higher vibration. And specifically, we alter the future trajectory. Of course, time doesn't really exist at an energetic level, but when we raise our vibration, we alter the natural future that we are walking toward, even if we feel as though we are walking the same path day to day, even if we feel as though we're taking the same actions, connecting with the same individuals, perhaps for some of us in the same relationships, platonically or romantically, as we raise the inner vibration and frequency, therefore raising ourselves to a higher timeline, all of those things we are walking in, we are experiencing, even if they seem the same on the surface, they actually alter entirely because the past of them is changed in a sense. The future of them is changed. And that is really what we refer to as this higher timeline. We naturally experience these outcomes that are more aligned with our true heart and soul desires because we are on that now raised higher trajectory for ourselves and our life, which is why really tending to our inner core frequency, clearing our energy on a daily basis, raising that vibration is the most powerful work that we do. So I feel that's a message coming through from someone's guides because you might find that a lot of your day is dedicated to practices mentally, emotionally, or structuring your life in a way that allows you to clear your energy, to raise your frequency. And at times you might find yourself being hard on yourself because there may be certain things that you don't desire to participate in because they feel as though they lower your frequency or they drain you. I'm getting many of you may resonate with the idea of being an empath. And although we are all energetically sensitive beings, those of us who identify as empaths experience this to an even greater degree. And because of this, I feel that you may be absorbing a lot of these energies from these others, which again leads me back to possibly you found it necessary at certain times or with certain people to distance yourself either emotionally, mentally, or literally in the physical world in terms of how much time and energy physically you give to these people. But remember that everything comes back to your inner frequency and what you are aligning with. And specifically, you need to know that when you outgrow other people, you aren't abandoning them. And in fact, in some cases, you aren't even outgrowing them altogether. You are outgrowing an old version of them aligned with a lower vibrational timeline. You are outgrowing that lower vibrational version of your connection with them. And actually, in many cases, platonically, and for some of you romantically, this will apply as well. In many cases, by stepping away, focusing on your inner frequency, your inner vibration, raising that frequency to a higher timeline, you are actually preserving the higher version of these connections. You are aligning with a higher version of that person, with a higher version of your interconnection with that person. So in essence, you are inspiring them, you are raising them or assisting them, or at the very least holding the space for them to rise to that higher vibrational version of themselves, which of course, as they make that choice to rise, you will then be aligning with them in this higher vibrational version of the connection. But once again, it takes time to play catch up energetically, emotionally, in the physical with these spiritual changes in vibration. And I'm getting that many of us are finding ourselves in that lag of time where spiritually we've expanded to this higher timeline. We've gotten a taste of it, a glimpse of it. We're seeing more and more of it, but we still feel this pull back. And largely this can have to do with people that we fear we are leaving behind, that we are afraid we are losing or abandoning. But remember, you aren't abandoning anyone. You are inspiring them to rise to the higher version of them that you are now holding space for by standing in your power, by standing in your confidence. Envy in the upright position. Also, there may be some people around you. I'm specifically getting female or feminine energy from these envy cards, meaning there could be female figures in your life. This could be a family member. I'm getting for someone, this could be a sister or a mom or a best friend that felt so close to you. At one point, you felt as though you were sisters. But I am getting that there could be someone who actually is feeling on the surface jealous or envious of the growth that they see you experiencing. But the thing is with this person, whoever I'm speaking to here, it's not that they are feeling a negative reaction to you or to your growth, even though they may feel as though it is that way. It is that you rising in your power, that power is becoming a kind of light that, as I said earlier, is illuminating the unconsciousness within them. And there may be certain aspects of their unconsciousness that this person simply is not willing to face. Now, for some of you with happy family upright, again, this could speak to this being a family member that I'm channeling into here, but also the number 444, happy family. I'm getting a lot of reunion energy from this card. So specifically this person who's feeling jealous, who might have been creating a little bit of disconnect between the two of you because they themselves are being triggered by your growth. I'm seeing that there is potential for this connection to reunite, to reconnect at some point in the future. But there may be a period of time where, again, you may have found yourself distancing because you are holding space for this person to catch up to where you've grown to and where you must have the courage to continue to stand and maintain yourself spiritually. You are on the leading edge, a very early wave, so to speak, a first wave of collective consciousness awakening. You are at this forefront, and because of this, you knew when you incarnated here, there would be periods of time where you would grow to a point that others around you were not ready to grow to. And one of your greatest struggles in this life is having the courage to stand alone, having the courage to remain in your power, remain in your truth, remain in your purpose, even if there are others around you who are uncomfortable with that light that you are radiating, to know that as you hold space for them and really for the rest of the collective that is in the process of awakening, of beginning to illuminate their own inner unconsciousness, as you hold this space, you are doing incredibly powerful work for collective consciousness. You are being this beacon, and just like a beacon stands alone, it sticks out like a sore thumb, shining this extremely bright, illuminating light out onto a dark ocean in the middle of the night. That is like you calling others home, calling others back to themselves. But you can't be afraid to stand out. You can't be afraid to be different. And I just feel that there was someone here who really needed that reminder message at this time. Now, from this happy family card, I have to say, I did also pick up here on if you are a divine feminine listening, on a masculine, very high level soul connection here. Someone who actually potentially may be one of these who felt their unconscious aspects illuminated by your lights and may have felt discomfort in this. Specifically with this masculine, what you need to know is if you're disconnected in the physical in some way, first of all, remember that this is only a perceived disconnect because you and this person are I'm getting, my guides are saying 95% to 99% plus. You are connected energetically, spiritually, and really it's only that 1 to 5% that is connected physically, meaning most of your depth that you share together, your connection, even your interaction happens telepathically, energetically, and unconsciously. But specifically, Divine Feminine, what you illuminated in this masculine was, I'm hearing his own inability to be fully open and transparent, because you called that transparency from him. And energetically speaking, the connection you share together demands of each of you nothing short of total transparency. I don't mean that in any kind of an aggressive way. I don't mean that as any kind of violation of free will. What I mean is, because you and this person are so energetically bonded and therefore naturally telepathic. When I say telepathic, I mean there is this constant exchange of energy between the two of you. For many of you, I wanted to say most of you, this will be a twin flame situation with this masculine, because there is such an immense amount of energy I can see flowing between you, even during those times that you call separation. Although your guides are kind of teasing a little bit here, saying, is it ever really a separation? Because it never really is a disconnect between you and this person. In fact, whenever you are separated from one another, you might find that dreams about this person ramp up, or that you see more number signs and synchronicities about them, that they come back even more strongly. Like a boomerang effect is what my guides are telling me, back into your mind, back into your emotions. This isn't by accident or mistake. This is because, well, for many reasons. The first being, it's just physics. Energetically, at some level, you and this person are quantum entangled, and therefore you can't help but experience one another, whether you are choosing to be physically connected or whether you are considering yourselves from a human perspective to be separate. It really doesn't make a difference. There is an immense amount of energy, especially emotional energy, running between the two of you. But again, what happened is this masculine felt all of those emotions pulled up and out of him. He did express, whether it was in words or in telepathy, through, I'm hearing even through his eyes, it's like you could just see what he was feeling, Divine Feminine. He expressed everything to you. He couldn't hold back from you. And the truth is, this terrified him. And with patience in the reverse position, there's something about timing coming up here. Timing. The timing may have felt off between the two of you, but it's not that the timing was off. That's really a human way to put it, because again, time doesn't really exist at this higher energetic level. More accurately, it's as though visually what I'm seeing is, now I understand why my guides had me speak so much about timelines earlier in this reading. What happened with this masculine is the same thing that could be happening to you, Divine Feminine, with many other people in your life at this time. That loneliness that comes up with Garden in the Gate as you protect the higher frequency that you are still learning to stabilize within your being, that is aligning you with this higher timeline. So it's not that the timing was off between you, Divine Feminine, and this masculine. It's that the timelines were off. And what I mean by that is not that anything was going wrong. It couldn't be more the opposite, really. It's that you, Divine Feminine, chose on a soul level prior to incarnating here to be the one to awaken spiritually through the higher chakras first, whereas the masculine focuses on the lower chakra centers, which is a much denser and slower moving energy. So because of this, Divine Feminine, when you awakened, you began to move very quickly. And at a certain point, your commitment to your own spiritual growth and development caused you to rise to a level of frequency or vibration spiritually speaking, that aligned you with a higher timeline. Whereas this masculine who is still transmuting these denser, heavier energies, these lower chakra energies, he couldn't follow you there at the time. Again, time as we think of from a human linear perspective. So it's not that you and this person are separated. It's that in a sense, you are on different timelines, and more accurately, divine feminine, you committing to yourself is raising you to a higher timeline, from which point you are then paving the way. You are holding the space for this masculine to rise and meet you at that higher timeline with you. It's almost like your higher self is saying to this masculine's higher self, meet me on our highest timeline. But because of this, there may be, for some, again, depending on the density of what this masculine is transmuting at this time, which will be different depending on your connection, your physical circumstances. For some of you, this may just look like moments of disconnect momentarily that just feel almost like blips. So you might even be in what we call a reunion state I'm getting for a very small number of those listening. For the majority listening, this does look like longer periods of actual disconnect, separation. This could be anything from living in the same space and needing to go into separate rooms to separate for 10 minutes, 20 minutes. For others, though, this could even look like years or decades of needing this time physically, where there is this lag, where you, divine feminine, are working on clearing, raising your frequency, paving the way to this higher timeline. And the masculine here, from one perspective, is playing catch up, but that's really not accurate, because that speaks to something here being unequal. It's not unequal. It's that you are transmuting different chakra centers. So because divine feminine, you are transmuting energy at the higher levels of the chakras, the crown, the third eye, the throats, whereas the masculine is focusing on the root, the sacral, the solar plexus. These denser energies tend to hold him to these lower vibrational timelines for longer, or at least as we think of longer from our physical perspective, which creates this illusion of a lag. But again, circling back to the overarching message here of you are never truly disconnected from this other person. Those moments you feel disconnect in the physical, know that this is an illusion constructed from your human physical mind to understand in a linear fashion the concept of timelines, which is very non-linear and spiritual in nature. So, wow, I can't believe the amounts of powerful energy coming through this reading. Thank you so much to all of you who brought your unique energetic signature to these readings. And if you would like to participate more actively in the readings, if you would like me to be able to pick up more clearly on your energy, both here and also in future readings as well, it does help if you subscribe to the channel, because by subscribing, this does, in a sense, contribute your unique energetic frequency to our collective here. And that allows me to more easily pick up on your energy at really all times when I'm tuned into the collective here. And therefore, I am able to channel more specifically for you. So I do always recommend subscribing for more specific messages. But for now, I'm going to pull one final card from the Rumi Oracle deck, Resplendent with Grace. And I'm just going to read a little bit from the guidebook here as well. Greetings from my heart, to you who are always with me, hidden inside as the heart. You are the compass of my life. My course is your way, no matter where I go. You exist everywhere and in everything, always watching over us. My soul brightens in the darkness when I speak your name. Far beyond the body, there is an opening from my heart to yours. I have to say, I feel this very powerfully coming from the divine masculine here to the divine feminine. Through that opening, I send you secret messages like the moonlights. I polish the mirror of my heart to be your reflection. I make my ear the receiver for the tenderness of your words. You are in the ear. You are in the mind. You are in every burning heart. What am I saying? You are I. This is my way to describe you. And the guidebook also says, of course, it matters not to grace, whether you see or do not see, for grace simply is, without witnessing, being required. Should you come to know this as I do, you would take each step with awe and reverence. You would decide that not a thing in your world could be classed as mundane, and decide with bold fervor that you are living in godliness and must create your world through choices that honor love. No fear, even the most stubbornly persistent, would be able to withstand the sight of your magnificent beating heart, so wild with life. In the sight of that wild heart, you would have to call all your fears close to you, soothing them with your words of love. So, I am now going to go ahead and close this first reading here. For those of you who are resonating with these messages, I will now be heading over to the extended version of this reading on Patreon. So on Patreon, we will be diving deeper into these messages. I will be channeling anything I pick up on from those of you who do come over to that Patreon community. And I will also be sharing more higher self love messages from this divine masculine coming through, more details on this connection, because I know that was something that made its way through toward the end of the reading and something that many of you may be interested in hearing more about. So if you feel guided to it, our Patreon Soul Tribe is linked in the pinned comments and description box under the video. Otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in to today's reading. I am wishing you a weekend full of love and light, and I hope to see you here again in Monday's reading.